let's see. I'm looking for, tell me what I'm going to look for as, to be able to show that they have gotten the lesson.
So that
they understand the lesson.
Yes. At the end, they are going to have a final draft typed up on my Google Classroom.
Okay. So what kind of work products will I be able to see throughout the lesson?
So you'll see a graphic organizer. You'll see a rough draft with my notes and their notes on it, and then they'll have their final draft at the end.
Okay, so, and then lesson.
During the lesson, I have a para who's in there who will go around and check in with the students because she's familiar with the lesson, and then along with myself come around and do check-ins. My lower ones get more routine check-ins, and I like to see that they have at least one sentence written down per check-in that we've had, one new sentence written down.
So lots of recursive quick checking in and support. Okay. What do you think it looks like if they're not accessing it? Like, what are the warning signs that they're not accessing the lesson?
For 2 of my students, pencil is not in hand, and we're starting to drift out, looking outside the windows or looking up and not paying attention. For my other students, they look like they're writing, but they're really just sitting there. And so when I see those signs, it's when I need to come back and redirect to what we're working on.
And you sort of, in your lesson, you've put in some scaffolds because you know that's typically what happens, and that's to kind of support them. What might it look like when they're not accessing it? You already told me that you would see them not, you would see them looking around the room, not really paying attention. You would see they wouldn't have a pencil in their hand. Do they raise their hand and ask for help?
My SDC student and my other student do not, but some of my lower other students will ask for help more. I don't know what else to say. I can't think of anything. They will ask for more help, and that's when myself and or the para will really start looking at those 4 students in the front and helping them more.
It's really important that you are connecting with your students directly. And I was wondering if you had put any thought into what CTSP that you would like to focus on for this lesson. Have you thought of any of them?
Looking at them, I would say I kind of like the CTSTP1, engaging with the students.
I actually was thinking the very first thing. I was thinking that it sounds like we're thinking that you're really trying to get all the students engaged in your lesson, and that's perfect for CTSP1A, and then also you could add 1B, which is having a greater knowledge of your students so that you can meet their needs in the lesson. So based on that, focusing on students and the knowledge of students, is there, do those feel like the right areas maybe you would like to focus on for the coaching?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Okay, so I looked up 1A and 1B, and I've got some of the things that I can collect evidence on. So for 1A, I can collect evidence on how the students are engaged in the tasks. This is one of your very most important things to you. Who's participating and who's not. What supports are in place to help the students access their writing. So that would be from top to bottom, all the kids. And then for 1B, I'll look at how you're responding to the different student needs as the lesson goes along, as their needs pop up in the classroom. And then how supports are tailored for students like JB and your SDC kiddo, and also your 2 kids that have the writing and reading IEPs. And then how their strengths and verbal tellings, the strengths that you and I talked about earlier, how they're being used in the lesson, how you're pulling out their strengths in the lesson. Does that sound like the kind of feedback you'd like in the lesson to help your teaching grow?
Exactly.
So this is how the observation is going to work. I'll be in the room for the full time, and I will be taking notes on all those things that we just talked about. And I would love to have access to the work samples. And then when we come to our post-observation meeting, we'll have a chance to look at those samples. I would, with your permission, I would like to film the lesson, if that's all right with you, and we'll get all of our permissions signed for that.
Okay.
And then you and I can sit and watch the lesson and kind of pick it apart and just look at what your strengths are, and then you'll be able to identify some weaknesses, and maybe with my help I can identify some strengths and some weaknesses that we can work on together. So is there anything else I should know about your students, or any supports that are in your room during that time, or the time of day of the lesson takes place?
We usually do our writing in the morning. So when the para comes in, so it's about 9:05 on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Okay, so that'll be the same. Yep. So she'll be in there. So I'll make sure I get her permission to film, that she's okay with that. And then it's in the morning, so that's always a great time to teach writing and reading, because kids are fresh, and it's before recess and that sort of thing. And so so we have our scheduled observation day next week, and then right after, when you have art, we've scheduled the time to come in and discuss, and watch the video, and then talk through it. Is that all going to be great for you? Okay. All right. I'll see you then. Thanks so much for participating with me.
Thank you.